All right, let's dive into something I think a lot of us have maybe thought about, but not really fully grasped. The importance of muscles. We all know we need them, right?
Mm.
But today, we're going deep on why muscles are absolutely essential for a longer and healthier life.
I think that's a great way to put it. So often we just think, oh, muscles, that's for strength, that's for looks. But
Yeah, I'm guilty of that myself sometimes.
but there's so much more than that. And I think that's what's really fascinating about this topic.
And where are we getting this information today?
Well, we're going to be pulling from an amazing conversation between Dr. Andrew Huberman and Dr. Gabrielle Leon.
From the Human Lab podcast.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So what did we learn? What are some of the big takeaways?
Well, Dr. Leon, she actually calls muscle the organ of longevity, which I think is just such a powerful statement because,
Yeah, what does that even mean?
yeah, it really makes you rethink how you view muscles.
It does.
And I think a lot of people, myself included, might have an overly simplistic view of muscles.
Yeah, totally.
So to answer your question, when you understand why she calls it that, it completely changes your perspective on your own health.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, for starters, did you know that muscle is an endocrine organ?
Wait, really? I thought endocrine organs were like your thyroid or your pancreas.
You're absolutely right. Those are endocrine organs, but so is muscle, which I think is fascinating. And what's fascinating about that is that muscle produces hormones, and those hormones have a direct impact on your metabolism and your overall health.
So it's not just about how strong you are, how much you can lift.
Not at all. It's about how well your muscles function on a cellular level, and that's really what we're talking about here. So, for example, muscle is responsible for about 80% of glucose disposal,
Wow.
meaning it helps regulate your blood sugar levels.
Wow, 80%. That's like the majority of it. I didn't realize muscle played such a huge role in that.
It does. It also acts as a reservoir for amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein, right? So this is crucial because protein is essential for so many processes in the body, from building and repairing tissues to supporting immune function.
So it's kind of like muscles are like the ultimate multitaskers. They're not just about movement. They're about keeping your whole system running smoothly.
That's a great way to put it. And just like we talk about lifespan, right, and health span, there's this concept of muscle span, which refers to the length of time that we maintain healthy muscle function throughout our lives.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Like we focus so much on living longer.
Yeah.
But what good is a long life if you're not healthy and functional?
Exactly. And Dr. Lyon, she shared this really compelling anecdote about one of her patients whose brain health was declining,
Oh, wow.
despite following a traditional low-fat, high-carb diet. So this person wasn't overweight, but their muscles were weak.
Interesting. So even if you're at a healthy weight, you could still be missing out on the benefits of strong muscles.
Absolutely. And this case really highlights that critical point that we need to focus on muscle health, not just weight on the scale. And one key factor in optimizing muscle health is protein.
Okay, let's talk about protein. Because it seems like Dr. Lyon, she's a big advocate for making sure you're getting enough.
She is, and for good reason.
Yeah.
She recommends consuming 30 to 50 grams of high-quality protein per meal, particularly at the first and last meals of the day.
Okay. Now, I've heard that the body can only absorb 30 grams of protein at a time. Is there any truth to that?
That's a common myth, but it's not accurate.
Okay.
You actually absorb all the protein that you ingest. What happens is that if you consume more than your body needs for immediate muscle protein synthesis, which is the process of building and repairing muscle tissue, the excess protein is simply oxidized and used for fuel.
Okay, so exceeding that 50-gram threshold in a meal isn't harmful. It just means your body will use the extra protein for energy.
Exactly. It's like filling up your gas tank. You only need a certain amount, and any extra just won't fit. But it doesn't hurt anything.
That makes sense. So it's not just about the total amount of protein, it's also about how it's distributed throughout the day.
You got it. And she mentioned some really fascinating research from Dr. Lehman's lab. They found that people who consume a higher protein diet, but with that protein spread evenly throughout the day, they actually lost more weight and fat while preserving more muscle mass than those on a standard American diet.
So spreading it out throughout the day is key. What about the type of protein we eat? Does that matter too?
It does. Animal-based proteins tend to have a more complete amino acid profile, meaning they contain all the essential amino acids our bodies need but can't produce on their own.
Okay.
And they're in a ratio that's similar to that of human muscle, making them highly effective for building and repairing muscle tissue.
So like chicken, fish, eggs, things like that. What about plant-based proteins?
Plant-based proteins are great too. And you can definitely get enough protein from plant sources. However, you might need to consume larger quantities because the amino acid profile differs from animal proteins, and they may not be as easily absorbed.
Okay, can you give an example of what that looks like in terms of food choices?
Sure. She mentioned that you would need to eat 6 cups of quinoa to get the same amount of protein found in one small chicken breast.
That's a lot of quinoa.
It is a lot of quinoa.
Okay, so while plant-based proteins are definitely valuable, you really have to be mindful of the quantities you need to consume to meet your protein needs.
Exactly. And I think it's worth addressing a common concern about red meat consumption in cancer, right?
Yes,
Because I know that's a big one for a lot of people.
for sure.
Dr. Lyon explained that obesity, not red meat itself, is a primary risk factor for many cancers. And a protein-forward diet can actually help optimize body composition.
So it's not about demonizing certain foods, but about understanding the bigger picture and making informed choices that support our overall health.
Exactly.
Now let's move on to how we can put all this protein to work through exercise.
Okay, so
Because I know a lot of people might be wondering, okay, I get the protein part, but how do I actually build muscle?
right. Well, Dr. Lyon, she emphasizes the importance of what she calls high ground exercises.
High ground exercises. I've always been told that free weights are better for building functional strength. How do high ground exercises fit into that?
That's a common misconception. High ground exercises are those that use machines to provide support and stability, allowing for safe and effective muscle stimulation. This is especially important for beginners or anyone who might be prone to injury.
So instead of squats with a barbell, you're talking about things like leg presses.
Exactly.
Okay.
Other examples include hack squats, leg extensions, leg curls, lat pull downs, and supported rows.
Okay, so it's more about using the machines to your advantage to focus on proper form and really isolate specific muscles.
Precisely.
Okay.
She argues that machines can actually be more functional than free weights, especially when it comes to minimizing the risk of tendon injuries.
Yeah.
Think about it. You're much less likely to hurt yourself on a leg press than you are doing squats with a heavy barbell on your back.
That's true. I mean, I've definitely tweaked my back doing squats before.
Yeah.
It's like having training wheels when you're first learning to ride a bike.
That's a great analogy. Machines can provide that extra support and guidance until you build up the strength and confidence to progress to more challenging exercises. And even then, machines can still be incredibly valuable tools for targeting specific muscle groups and maximizing your workouts.
Okay, so machines are getting a good rep here. What else should we know about exercise for building muscle?
Intensity is key. Dr. Lyon, she emphasizes that the final repetitions of each set should be challenging. You should really feel those muscles working.
So no slacking off, but it doesn't have to be an all or nothing approach, right? You don't have to like kill yourself in the gym every day.
Absolutely not. She recommends aiming for 2 to 3 days of resistance training per week, with full body workouts lasting 40 to 60 minutes.
Okay.
That feels manageable, right?
That does. Yeah, definitely. It reminds me of something you mentioned earlier about how inactivity is actually a disease state in itself.
That's right. Even if you can't commit to a full workout, incorporating more movement into your day is crucial. Take the stairs instead of the elevator, walk or bike instead of driving whenever possible.
Right.
Just keep your body moving.
So we covered protein, we covered exercise. Are there any other tools in our muscle building toolkit? I know she mentioned some interesting supplements.
Yeah, she did. She's a big proponent of creatine monohydrate
Okay.
and recommends 5 to 10 grams per day. Now, you might be thinking, creatine, isn't that just for, like, bodybuilders?
Yeah.
But actually, creatine has benefits for both muscle and brain health. It's been shown to improve strength and power and cognitive function.
I've heard it can be really effective, but are there any potential drawbacks or people who should be cautious about using it?
That's a great question. Like any supplement, it's essential to do your research and talk to your doctor before starting creatine.
Yeah.
There are some potential side effects, and it might not be suitable for everyone, but for many people, it can be a safe and effective way to support muscle health.
Okay, what about other supplements? She mentioned urolithin A. What's that all about?
Urolithin A is a fascinating postbiotic. It promotes mitochondrial function. Remember when we talked about mitochondria being the powerhouses of our cells?
Yes, they're responsible for producing energy,
Exactly.
which is crucial for pretty much everything our bodies do.
Exactly. Well, urolithin A helps keep our mitochondria healthy and functioning properly, which is incredibly important as we age.
So it essentially supports cellular energy and overall vitality.
Yes. And then she also mentioned fish oil, collagen supplementation.
Fish oil, that's a classic. I feel like I've been hearing about fish oil since I was a kid.
It's a good one, and she often recommends it to her patients. She also touched upon collagen supplementation and suggested that you might need higher doses than what's typically recommended to see significant benefits.
So it's not just about taking any old supplement, but about doing your research and making informed choices.
Absolutely. You need to understand the dosages, the mechanisms behind them to truly optimize their effectiveness.
Yeah, totally. This leads perfectly into, I think, the next part of our deep dive, how exercise and nutrition work together to impact muscle health. And I'm especially interested in hearing her thoughts on fasting, as it's become so popular in recent years.
Yeah, fasting has definitely gained a lot of attention lately. And she does acknowledge the potential benefits of intermittent fasting, right?
Right.
Like calorie restriction and giving the digestive system a break. But she also cautions that prolonged fasting might not be ideal for older adults who are trying to maintain muscle mass.
Okay.
So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you're not eating enough protein, especially as you age, your body might start breaking down muscle for fuel.
Exactly. It really highlights how important it is to tailor your approach to your individual needs and goals.
Yeah.
There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to nutrition or exercise.
All right. Speaking of exercise, I'm curious to hear more about the connection between muscle contraction and glucose uptake. I know you mentioned that movement itself helps regulate blood sugar.
Right. So when your muscles contract during exercise, they actually pull glucose from your bloodstream to use for energy.
Okay.
This helps improve insulin sensitivity, meaning your cells become more efficient at using glucose, which can lower your risk of developing type 2 diabetes.
So it's not just about building muscle. It's about using those muscles regularly to help your body manage blood sugar more effectively.
Exactly. Now, you might be wondering, what about high-intensity interval training, or HIIT? Everyone seems to be doing it these days.
Yes, HIIT is so popular these days. What are Dr. Lyon's thoughts on it?
She definitely sees the benefits of HIIT, especially for improving cardiovascular health and something called V02 max, which is a measure of how efficiently your body uses oxygen.
Okay, so good for your heart, good for your lungs. Are there any downsides?
Well, the intensity of HIIT can be a double-edged sword, right? It's very effective, but it needs to be adjusted based on your individual needs and abilities.
So listen to your body and don't push yourself too hard, especially if you're new to this type of training.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're challenging yourself but not overdoing it.
Yeah. Now, I know some people who are really into fitness get concerned about elevated creatinine and liver enzymes after intense exercise.
Oh, yeah.
They worry it might indicate kidney or liver damage. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a great question, and it's important to address those concerns. Dr. Leon explains that these elevations are often transient, meaning they go away on their own after a few days.
Okay.
It's not necessarily a sign of damage, but rather a reflection of the body's natural response to intense exercise. However, if you're consistently seeing elevated levels, it's definitely worth talking to your doctor to rule out any underlying issues.
Okay, good to know. So it's normal to see some fluctuations after a tough workout,
Right.
but if it's persistent, get it checked out.
Exactly. Now let's talk about another tool for boosting muscle health, which is whey protein. You might be familiar with this one already.
Yes, whey protein is a popular one, especially among athletes and fitness enthusiasts.
Yeah.
But what makes it so beneficial for muscle health?
Well, whey protein is a convenient and effective way to ensure you're getting enough protein, especially if you're struggling to meet your needs through food alone.
Right.
It's absorbed quickly by the body, which makes it ideal for consuming after a workout to help simulate muscle protein synthesis.
So it's like giving your muscles the building blocks they need to recover and grow stronger after exercise.
Exactly. And it's also a versatile protein source. You can add it to smoothies, yogurt, or even bake with it.
That sounds much easier than choking down 6 cups of quinoa.
Definitely. And speaking of convenience, let's not forget about the power of mindset.
Oh yes, the mental game.
Dr. Lyon really emphasizes this aspect as well.
Right. It's not just about what you eat and how you move, but also about your mental approach to health and fitness.
Exactly. She believes that having the right mindset is crucial for achieving any health goal, especially when it comes to building and maintaining muscle. She often asks her patients this question: do you feel worthy of feeling good?
Wow, that's a really powerful quote. And it really makes you stop and think about your relationship with your body and your beliefs about health.
It does. It encourages you to examine those limiting beliefs that might be holding you back from achieving your full potential. Do you believe you deserve to feel good, to be strong and healthy? If not, why not?
It's about recognizing that you're worthy of investing in your health and well-being.
Exactly. And it's about viewing your body as an ally, not an enemy. It's about embracing the journey of discovering what works best for you and celebrating every step along the way.
I love that. It's about shifting your perspective from self-criticism to self-compassion.
Exactly. And remember, progress takes time and effort. Don't get discouraged if you don't see results overnight.
Be patient with yourself, celebrate the small wins, and keep moving forward. This is a journey, not a destination.
Well said. And this brings us to a really interesting point about the bigger picture of muscle health and longevity.
Okay, what do you mean?
Dr. Line pointed out that maintaining strong muscles, it improves our survivability against almost any ailment, even cancer.
Wow, really? So it's not just about living longer, but also about living better, with more resilience against disease.
Exactly. And yet, we don't hear nearly enough about the importance of muscle health in mainstream health conversations.
Yeah, it's true. Why do you think that is? Why isn't this talked about more?
I don't know. Perhaps it's because we tend to focus on treating symptoms rather than addressing the root causes of health issues. Or maybe it's because the fitness industry often portrays muscle building as something that's just for athletes or bodybuilders.
Yeah, and it can be kind of intimidating for, like, the average person. Like, oh, I could never do that.
Right, but it doesn't have to be. Building and maintaining muscle is something everyone can benefit from,
Everyone.
regardless of age or fitness level.
Absolutely. And it can be as simple as, incorporating more movement into your day, eating enough protein,
Yeah.
and challenging your muscles a couple of times a week.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you and making it a sustainable part of your lifestyle.
And remembering that building muscle isn't just about aesthetics. It's about investing in your long-term health and well-being.
Couldn't agree more. So as we wrap up this first part of our deep dive into muscle health, let's take a moment to just reflect on what we've learned.
Okay. What are the key takeaways you want listeners to remember?
First and foremost, muscle is the organ of longevity.
Okay.
Prioritizing muscle health through nutrition and exercise can have a profound impact on your overall health and well-being,
Yeah.
reducing your risk of disease and improving your resilience as you age.
And remember, it's never too late to start. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just starting your fitness journey, there are simple steps you can take today to improve your muscle health.
Absolutely. Start by incorporating more protein into your diet, aiming for that 30 to 50 gram range per meal, especially at breakfast and dinner.
And make sure to challenge your muscles with resistance training at least a couple of times a week.
Yeah.
Remember those high ground exercises?
Yeah.
This is a great place to start.
And don't forget about the power of mindset.
Oh yeah, that mindset.
Believe in your ability to change, be patient with yourself, and enjoy the journey.
This has been such an insightful deep dive already. I feel like I have a whole new appreciation for muscles and their importance for longevity.
Me too. It's fascinating how such a seemingly simple thing can have such a profound impact on our health.
I want to leave our listeners with one final thought to ponder as we move into the next part.
Okay.
If muscle is truly the organ of longevity, how might a societal shift towards prioritizing muscle health change the way we approach aging and healthcare? What if we viewed building and maintaining muscle as a cornerstone of a long, healthy life? It's a thought-provoking question, and I encourage everyone to explore it further.
That's a great point to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
We hope you found it informative and empowering.
And we'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the world of health and longevity. Until then, keep flexing those muscles, both physically and mentally.
See you next time.
It's a really interesting question to think about, right? How would our society change if we really prioritized muscle health?
It is. Like, how would our approach to aging and healthcare be different?
Exactly.
Yeah. And it all comes back to, like you said, that concept of muscle span.
Right.
Just like we want to extend our lifespan and our health span, we should also be thinking about how to maximize our muscle span.
Totally. So much emphasis is placed on just the number of years that we live,
Right.
but the quality of those years is equally, if not more, important.
Absolutely. What good is living to 100 if you're spending, like, the last 20 years of your life frail and unable to do the things that you enjoy?
Exactly. So building and maintaining muscle, it's not just about vanity or athletic performance. It's about preserving your independence and vitality as you age.
Yeah. It's about being able to play with your grandkids, travel the world, pursue your hobbies, whatever brings you joy, without being limited by physical constraints.
Exactly. It's about living life to the fullest for as long as possible.
Love that.
Yeah.
And it all starts with recognizing the incredible power of muscle. It's not just about how you look, it's about how you feel, how you function, how you experience life.
Absolutely. This deep dive has been such a valuable reminder that we have more control over our health and longevity than we often realize.
It really is. It's empowering to know that simple, everyday choices, like what we eat, how we move, and how we think about our bodies, can have a significant impact on our long-term well-being.
Absolutely. It's not about drastic measures or complicated routines. It's about making sustainable changes that become part of who we are.
And shifting our focus from limitations to possibilities. Instead of thinking, oh, I'm too old for this or I'm not athletic, try thinking, what can I do today to make my body stronger and more resilient?
That's such a powerful shift in perspective. It's about embracing the journey and celebrating every step forward.
Exactly. And remember, it's never too late to start investing in your muscle health.
Never too late.
Whether you're in your 20s, 40s, 60s, or beyond, you can reap the benefits of a strong, healthy body.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. This has been an incredibly informative and inspiring conversation.
It's been a pleasure. I hope our listeners feel empowered to take charge of their muscle health and embrace the amazing potential of their bodies.
We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the world of health and longevity. Until then, keep flexing those muscles, both physically and mentally.
Yeah, and it's funny because we were just talking about mindset and how sometimes it feels like, oh, I'm too old for this.
Right.
But that really is just a mindset, isn't it?
It is. And I think a lot of us get stuck in those thought patterns, especially as we get older. We start to believe that certain things are just not for us anymore.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we need to challenge those limiting beliefs.
Absolutely. So, thinking about muscle health, what are some things that people can start doing today, regardless of their age or fitness level, to kind of, I don't know, like turn things around? What can they do to get started?
That's a great question. And, I think it starts with just becoming more aware of your body and how it moves. Pay attention to how you're sitting, how you're standing, how you're walking.
Okay, so like posture and things like that.
Posture is huge because if you're constantly slouching or hunching over, you're not only putting stress on your spine, but you're also inhibiting your muscles from working properly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So start by just becoming more mindful of your alignment and then gradually incorporate more movement into your day. Take the stairs instead of the elevator, walk or bike instead of driving whenever possible. Park farther away from the store entrance so you have to walk a little bit.
Right, those little things add up.
They really do. And then, of course, there's the nutrition piece, which we talked about earlier. Make sure you're eating enough protein, especially at breakfast and dinner.
And spread it out throughout the day.
Exactly. Don't just have one big protein-heavy meal and then skimp on protein the rest of the day. Aim for that 30 to 50 grams per meal, especially at those key times.
Okay, and what about strength training? Is that something that everyone should be doing?
I believe it is, yes. But it doesn't have to be intimidating.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people hear strength training and they immediately picture, like, heavy weights and grunting at the gym.
Right. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can start with bodyweight exercises at home, like squats, lunges, push-ups, planks. There are so many options that don't require any equipment.
And then if you're ready for more of a challenge, you can always join a gym or work with a trainer to learn proper form and progress safely.
Exactly. And remember those high ground exercises we talked about earlier?
Yeah, the ones using machines for support.
Those are great, especially for beginners. They help you build strength and confidence without putting too much stress on your joints.
And they can help you focus on specific muscle groups, too.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to remember that strength training isn't just about building big muscles. It's about improving your overall functional strength, which translates to everyday activities.
Right, like carrying groceries, playing with your kids, gardening, just moving through life with more ease and less risk of injury.
Exactly. And as we get older, maintaining that functional strength becomes even more crucial for preserving our independence and quality of life.
So true. It's an investment in our future selves.
It really is. And, this brings us back to that powerful question you posed earlier. If muscle is truly the organ of longevity, how might a societal shift toward prioritizing muscle health change the way we approach aging and healthcare? It's a big question, but I think it's an important one to ponder.
It is a big question. But it's also an exciting one, right? Because it opens up so many possibilities.
It does. Imagine a world where we view building and maintaining muscle as a fundamental part of a healthy lifestyle. just like brushing our teeth or eating our vegetables.
Yeah, and where doctors routinely prescribe exercise and strength training as preventative measures, not just as treatments for existing conditions.
Exactly. And where schools teach kids about the importance of muscle health from a young age, so they grow up with a positive relationship with their bodies and an understanding of how to take care of them for the long haul.
Wow, that would be amazing. A true paradigm shift in how we think about health and aging.
It would. And I believe it's a shift that's long overdue.
I agree. So as we wrap up this deep dive into muscle health, what's the one message you want to leave our listeners with?
I think it's this. You have the power to change your body and your health at any age. It's never too late to start.
That's so empowering. It's a reminder that we're not just passive recipients of our genes or our circumstances. We have agency. We can make choices that support our health and longevity.
Exactly. And building and maintaining muscle is one of the most powerful choices you can make. It's an investment that will pay dividends for years to come.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. This has been an incredible journey of discovery, and I feel truly inspired to prioritize my own muscle health.
It's been my pleasure, and I hope our listeners feel the same way.
And to all our listeners out there, remember, muscle is the organ of longevity. Embrace its power, invest in your health, and keep flexing those muscles, both physically and mentally. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of health and longevity. Until then, stay strong.